Welcome to Face to Show Festival. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Lauren Elizabeth, founder and artistic director of Showface. Showface has worked virtually for the past 3 months with creatives and the performing arts students at the College Merthyr Tydfil to create this wonderful festival of virtual theatre. All the monologues you see have been written by emerging writers all over the world, and we'd like to take a moment to thank all the emerging creatives involved in the festival. All group pieces have been devised by the performing arts students, as they've worked exceptionally hard to adapt to the changing climate of theatre. Please refer to your programme throughout the festival to see the writers, performers and directors behind the pieces. You can download this on our website if you haven't already. Thank you again for your support, and please enjoy the festival.
Have you heard? You most definitely have, because you've always known everything before me, and you always will. Well, if you haven't heard, I'm gonna tell you, and if you have, I'm still gonna say. Well, anyway, they've elected a new president in America. It's big news. They say it's historic. The start of a new era. I don't think I could take another era. I actually googled it. What is an era? And the only thing they talk about is the end of an era. So maybe eras don't actually start. They just end. The end of the COVID era. Now there's something worth celebrating. I googled celebrating too, and it said it's the gerund or present participle of a celebrate. Don't worry, because I don't know any of those words too. So I stopped googling for today. Anyways, maybe a new president will bring about change. Oh my god, I can't believe I've just said that. I sound like every other news presenter. Change. Now there's a word. One stupid bat curry in China, and now the whole world are wearing masks, queuing for bog roll, and talking to their nans through the front window or doing TikToks. Well, my Auntie Sue used to dance in front of my nan's window long before COVID. She lived on her own, my Auntie Sue, but took in lodgers working on the canal. She had 2 blokes staying in at a time, and I didn't know exactly what they did, but they were always huge. They had steaming waders and waterproofs drying in front of the fire in the front room every time I would go there. I used to spend hours with Sue. I would go home every night at around 10 o'clock, just before the news went on. Auntie Sue always sent me home when news at 10 came on. I think she thought that all the murderers, child beaters and kidnappers that could get me as I walked home would only come out after news at 10 finished. So as long as I was home before it finished, job was sorted. Every Sunday, all the lodgers went out, so me and my Auntie Sue spent time together, just ourselves. We would blast music so loud and no one could tell us what to do. There's something about an auntie, you know. They're like the naughty side of your mum that you never get to see. It's like if you'd been in school with your mother. My Auntie Sue loved to play vinyl records. I loved it because she played Bowie and Mark Bolan, Slade and The Alarm. But there was one song she always used to play when I was there. I think she wanted me to understand what it was about without actually telling me. And I suppose I did, eventually. It was a Sam Cooke song, and it's called A Change Is Gonna Come. It starts off with these beautiful strings and a big bass drum, and it gives you time to think about what's coming. It's been too hard living, but I'm afraid to die, 'cause I don't know what's up there, beyond the sky. It's been a long time coming. But I know change is gonna come. A long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. We'd sing it together, me and Sue. They didn't have the X Factor back then, but you know when the kid sings a song with their mum, and you know they're going to put them through because they've spent 5 minutes telling you their backstory, and it makes everyone cry. Well, we're like that. Me and Auntie Sue, singing Sam Cooke in her house every Sunday afternoon. And I loved it. But a change did come. Auntie Sue passed away. She hadn't been ill, she'd been shopping. I was 12, and it was a Saturday night. I was looking forward to seeing her the next day, and I'd just gone to bed when my mum came into the room and said, "Your Auntie Sue died. They found her dead body by the canal. She was on her way home from shopping." It was like the bloke who ran the pub just died, someone I didn't know or care about. My mum just blurted it out like, "Oh, before you go to sleep, before I forget, like, I might as well tell you this." I didn't cry. I wasn't even sure if I was supposed to cry, or even if I cheered it right, or even actually I meant what I thought it did. It was like I wasn't supposed to be bothered. They played the Sam Cooke song at her funeral, and I cried. I cried like a baby. I asked my mum to let me out of the car on the way back from the cemetery because I could not stop crying. And I didn't want everyone to see me. I walked back home on my own and took all the side streets so I didn't see anyone I knew. After that, I never heard that song for years. They played it on the TV for the president. Straight away it took me back. I remember all the times we spent with Sue blaring music in her cottage by the canal. It took me back to my nan and granddad. Everything that has now changed. The more things change, the more they stay the same.
Sometimes it's so easy to forget how important you are. You don't just exist alone, you know? You're part of something bigger. Community, society, whatever you want to call it. Everything you do is adding to it for everyone. And that goes double for us on the road, Ken's Chippy, Maggie's Bakery. Thing is, working in a shop, you just slip into autopilot. I hear that door open and I already know what to expect. Fred's buying a pint of milk and the Radio Times. Alice, a frozen pizza, a bag of chips and a bottle of Pinot. Even with a randomer, I know. 20-pack of menthol sterling? Sorry, we don't sell menthol anymore. Fine, just sterling. And of course, Doreen. Every Monday, pays for the week's papers and the Twyfil. That's £9.80 please, I say. Here you go, love. And 20p change? No, you keep the change. You'll never know when you need it. Every Monday, for years and years and years. I mean it, I remember, aged 8, sitting on the counter, doing my own work. Doreen would come in, pay for the week's papers and a Twyfil. That's £4.70 please, my mum would say. That's how long ago this was, mind. £4.70. Here's a fiver, love, Doreen would say, and turn to me and ask, what's the change? 30p, I'd reply, and she'd smile and hand me the change and say, keep the change, you'll never know when you'll need it. It's been going on for decades. It's like a catchphrase, like Bruce Forsyth or something. It's nice to keep the change. To keep the change. Nice. Honestly, sometimes I feel like I'm close to losing it, stuck in this same shop with these same faces. It's like Groundhog Day. But I have to go through the routine with her. It's not like I can just keep the change. She has to offer it. And I know it's not much, but you add it up, around 20p a week. That's a good 400 quid she's given me. Funny thing is, I'm operating at a loss now. My wholesaler stopped selling Twyfils in 2017. No one buys them, but Doreen. I've been getting them from Tesco's and then selling them back to her. Well, she spent years overpaying, so it's only right. Anyway, it's her face when she says it. That's what makes it really worth it. That little glint in her eye. It's like my mum used to say, sometimes people just need reminding that it's still sunny above the clouds. So, when I was facing another long week, stuck in this same shop, that little glint reminds me. So, 2 weeks ago, when there was no sign of Doreen, I noticed it. I was surprised by how much I noticed it, but the routine, it was broken. The glint was missing, the Twyfil remained. I spent all week thinking about it. It dragged longer than any week before, and yet I can't remember a single thing about it. I just sat, just wondering and hoping. Next Monday, I get a call. It's Doreen's daughter, cancelling paper delivery, for good. She asks if there's anything left to pay. I told her the account was paid in full. I don't know, it hit me. Way more than I thought it would have. Lost the old regulars, you know. I closed early that day. The randomers would have to get their sterling elsewhere. I popped into Ken's Chippy on the way back. Didn't fancy cooking. Cod chips, please, Ken. That's £4.70. Keep the change, I say. Never known you'll need it, replied Ken. It's like I said, you don't just exist alone. We're all adding to something for everyone.
In the words of David Bowie, turn and face the strange. Words that have stuck with me ever since I heard them on my dad's old record player. We didn't have much growing up, it meant a lot, so we'd listen to it for hours. He'd say, music can heal the soul, son. He was a hippie type, even admitted to being a stoner in the 70s and 80s. He'd follow up with then, I'm not the type of father to tell you to stay away from drugs, just as long as you're with people that you trust and feel safe with. I loved that about him. I was a shy kid, but he never treated me any differently. I was scrawny, didn't say much, but I'd watch. Not in a weird way, you know, but like, I'd notice things other people didn't. Other things others overlooked. Like, how my dad's hands would shake as he changed the record. My mother covering her face when she smiled, and things people would say around the estate like, fucking Tories. And I mean, then it goes over your head, but fucking Tories, am I right? Wet backpedaling arseholes, and that's putting it politely. All those things you heard as a kid, you're protected by this force field, beautiful protected force field, and All the things you hear just don't quite compute. Force field diminishes over time, of course, and everything's fine until some rich bastard in his ivory tower barks down orders which changes your life forever and you can't do anything about it. I think it was when I was about 13 I started to actually find my own voice. I think that's important, finding your own voice. It was like puberty hit and bam! I was scared to even walk into the boys' changing rooms. Seeing a male form would just make all the blood rush to my head. Sometimes it's out of our hands. Change has to happen for us to live, to survive, to be free. It can be hard at first, changing. It's a natural thing. Changes the seasons, changing the time, climate change, changes. Any loose change? Sorry mate, not much, but that'll do. Then you turn in the corner, and as the next song plays through your headphones, you see a bowed head and a cardboard sign. Another show that real change takes more than just loose change. It was tough when you faced that feeling, that fight or flight feeling, that sinking pit in your stomach. When my dad died, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to feel the feelings I felt. I ran away, I hid from it, I bottled it up and took to the streets. But something in my head was telling me to go back, that I'd regret it for the rest of my life otherwise. Those 5 words, turn and face the strange. I held my dad's hand when he passed away. I cried for days, weeks. But ever since then, I never, ever backed down again. Never. Those 5 words, to face the problem, not run away from it. With a David Bowie-like attitude, my finger up to the world. That's what I was going to do. Take it, not just leave the problem. I look at that kid, that shy little scrawny kid, and I think, I know what he's going to go through. But he's going to stick his finger up, and he's going to turn and face the strange. Change.
something else? I was just helping with the quick. No, I get that. Yeah. I love cucumber water. I know. If I were president, I know. Cucumbers in the reservoirs. Giant cucumbers.
Mr. Pritchard?
Yes. Hi. All right. I'll see you in 90 minutes. Enjoy. Thank you.
Mr. Tucker? Mr. Tucker?
We had a few no-shows for the Britney concert, so... One, please! Oh, what about Mitchell? It's Vegas! He doesn't need to know what I'm doing, I don't need to know what he's doing.
Hi, ma'am, you alright? Yeah, not bad. Yeah. Yeah, I had a good night last night, you know, celebrating New Year's and stuff. I do it in a bit. Oh yeah, tampon tax has finally been abolished in the UK. 2021. Jesus, how the hell did it take that long? Do you know what? Personally, I never understood. Yeah, but to make us pay and charge us some tax just makes my blood boil. It always has, ever since I started. 13 and petrified. Yeah. I mean, it wasn't like I didn't expect it. My mum always told me my body was going to change. Still here, yeah. But I never really understood it, you know? Yeah, I'll never forget the first time I was told about them periods. These women came into my primary school and they said, one day, girls, you're going to menstruate. Like a bunch of 10-year-olds are going to know what that means. Oh, God. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, but something that surely should have been free. Yeah. Yeah, hang on, yeah. I know I sound pretty spoiled. What's a few quid each month on some pads? Yeah, signal went, sorry. Yeah. But it's the principal, even then. That tampons were classed as a non-essential item to slap tax on. Yeah, I know, I'm fuming. Yeah, like pulling one out every few hours for his luxury. I know if we say anything, there's plenty of women in the world who suffer from period poverty and have to make their own pads out of old towels and old clothes. Yeah. No. Disdaining, yeah. Yeah. But my point is, no woman should be made to pay to figure out if they can afford tampons that month. Yeah. Yeah, well, I'll leave you go then. Alright, yeah. Okay, yeah. Okay, bye, yeah, bye, yeah, bye, yeah. God. Oh, and it should be a human right for an essential item. Anyone who's ever had a period will tell you the same thing. You can't go a day without blood dripping down your legs. Oh, and don't pull that face. I'm sick and tired of people squirming every time I mention the word period. I know they're gross, but talking about them shouldn't. I mean, half the women in the world haven't, for God's sake. Do. Oh, and for those of you who have never experienced it, I'll explain it to you. You have cramps, bad head, bad stomach, blood dripping out. And warmed up death. That's all I gotta say. It is warmed up death. And then to have to do it all again a few weeks later. Like, God. Who was I on the Sudoku? I understand that it needs to be a choice made by people who have them and haven't, but
I mean, asking for a tampon shouldn't be a law. It's 2021.
Don't tell me you never had to call your spouse. Oh, there's people for you. Come on, Claire, please pick up.
The lady wins again!
Eve. I jumped at my name. I shuffled my feet and lowered my eyes to the ground. That's my usual response. That's what I do to avoid situations like this. I knew the room was full. I could sense the eager faces. Faces of people with more experience than me, and with much louder voices than mine. I'm sorry. I can't. It's not my place. There was silence. Surely it was not up to me. Still nothing. Sorry. I was mumbling. I was desperate to move out of the limelight and to move into the shadows. Hiding. I like to hide. I knew that if I refused, gave excuses, it wouldn't be a problem. There would be no surprise. Like, no one ever really listened to me. I was used to that. Because I was the shy one. That's what everybody said. The quiet one. I was always at the back, backed up in the corner, feeling cornered most of the time. I had become so good at keeping my head low, bowing and scraping it along surfaces that had long ago marked me out as separate. The thin white scars were a constant reminder of my place. I was different. I expected nothing and was usually rewarded in kind. So, you can imagine my surprise when I heard an answer from a strong, persistent voice. Not from this room, no, but a voice that seemed to reach out to me from across the ages. Her tone was one of reproach, and her voice was so loud that I was astonished when it was obvious that no one else had heard it. Just me. It wasn't my place either, she went on. Not from my comfortable drawing room where I had led a blameless, if unexceptional life. Not my place at all. But it's hard to turn a blind eye and to ignore the injustices of the world. I witnessed poverty that fueled my thoughts, and tragedy that fed my appetite for change. I was emboldened by the multitude of women looking in my direction, seeking, inviting, and pleading for someone to step forward, to step up. I was petrified and I clawed at the skin at the base of my thumbnail. I'm not brave. My reply sounded bellow. It wasn't my place from the northern mills, she said in a tone that had now shifted in brogue. I sat spinning yarns and darning tales and stitching lies to explain the ills of a myriad of women. The human chord which responds to the battle call of freedom was awakened in me. I wasn't trained for high service. I was not born for the front line. But when the mantle lies at your feet, it is an imprudent woman that leaves it standing there. But I protested. I wasn't sure how many voices I was addressing. That's me. There are plenty of people who would love to step up to mark, to make their mark. But not me. Not yet. It wasn't my place either, said the voice that had again shifted its tone. It was odd to think that I was surrounded by many women from the past. Women who I could not see. Breathe. It wasn't my place from my orderly rows, where I constructed with military precision, but the sidelines make an uncomfortable resting place. It is unwise to tarry long, and so I held up my hands and grasped the metal, and felt unwieldy and unfamiliar in my hands, leading me down dark alleys into my incarceration where I starved and had food forced upon me. Not every woman can be sure of her destiny. Not every woman needs her sacrifice to be so great. We are not assigned these roles, but we all have choices to make. I waited. The others, they wore blank stares. They seemed artificial, with their nodding heads and their stupid grins. My elders, my betters. Oh, how I had been impressed by them. took them all at their word, and yet here they were. Less formidable, less commanding, and well, less "it's your place and it's your time," said a chorus of those who had come before. Female warriors who had battled for me, all seeking to balance the world. You know, there is still so much to do. To ignore this moment would set us back 1,000 years, they chanted. The air was full. They were deafening in this silent room of dulled people. The resolution of women who were demanded to be free and commanded to be heard. These women were talking to me. I stood tall. I faced my fears and I pushed them away. I had not known that I had possessed such resolution. Breathe. It's my place. I realised that I had shouted that, and that I didn't shuffle my feet. I stood tall and lifted my eyes. There they were, the multiple challenges that faced me. Breathe. I can be brave. It is my place. My voice didn't waver. I am different. It is my place and I am ready to move mountains.
In the first few days of January, my mum gave me these for your daffodils to grow in preparation for spring. It's been years since I've been home for longer than a fleeting visit, but she knows me well, and so I know without asking that this is her way of saying, I know the cow has drained out of everything again, and I know there is nothing I can do to help, and I know you will see yourself through the other side of this as you always do, but here is something beautiful in the meantime. Something to give you hope. I wish you were that simple. Depression, it's like mud, thick mud, wading your way through it, slipping, clawing yourself back up so it gets under your fingernails, stains the knees of your jeans so no matter how much you scrub and scrub, the reminder of the fall is still there, following you around like your own footprints, trailing pieces of the dirt up the stairs, or maybe it's more like water, heavy water. On the days the sea is big and unforgiving and you were trying so hard to swim in one direction, but the current has other ideas pushing against you, seeping into your mouth, filling up your lungs so you're drowning and gasping for breath. And it's always been like this. I have vivid memories of being not much older than 12, laying on my bed, staring up at the ceiling, off into the distance, knowing I needed to move or just say something, but lacking the ability to even lift a limb. It wasn't laziness or attitude, as is so often assumed in young people. It was a feeling that had been with me for so long, I'd just gotten used to it. Nowadays, it feels like a thick fog that rolls in occasionally, an impermeable membrane sitting on the surface of my skin, so anything trying to get in my favourite song or the colour of the sunset, it's just diluted, desaturated, as if winter has suddenly arrived, robbed my world of colour and plunged it into shadow. I suppose, though, the dark days come less often than they used to. And in fact, I know that referring to them as days rather than weeks or months is, in itself, something I shouldn't take for granted. And I know, too, through the years of therapy and weathering my own inner seasons, that winter doesn't always last forever. As much as it always feels it will. But depression is simply a storm to ride out. But the shadow will come, but the light will return, and even in the dark, I'm still growing. You know, they've grown so much in the past week or so that I honestly can't help but marvel at their determination. Even in the bleakest months of the year, it's as if they have this innate knowing within them that brighter days are coming, a blind faith that will let life begin again. They haven't flowered yet, though, but they will soon. If I care for them well enough, if I'm patient, show them love when they are ready, they'll muster up the energy, turn their heads to the sun and bloom. And maybe the same can be said for me, too.
I'm counting the seconds and hours and days, picking up the pieces of this mess we've made. The earth will never mend.
I'm counting the days and the months and the years, planning for a future foundation of fears, swept from under my feet. And now that I finally stood up on my own, these feelings repulsive send me back to home, ready to explore, but have I hit defeat? I won't give this all up.
Change.
You know, one of the best relationships I've ever had was with a friend I made at 22. Moved into the same house on the same day, and for the first 2 weeks we just smiled at each other and exchanged words in the hallway. And then one evening, she was painting in the living room, and I asked her about her art, and our relationship began. 5 months my new friend and I living there. We lived there for a month alone, just the two of us. And if we'd been close before, we crossed boundaries we never knew we'd cross. At that time I didn't have a job, so she would go to work evening at 5 o'clock in the morning, coming home at 2 p.m. And I'd just woken up the hour before. I had the hot water turned on for a shower and a cup of coffee, a joint roll for her when she walks through the door. Baby, I would call. Baby. She'd cry and fall into my lap, and we'd lay there for a few moments. We'd glide up to the kitchen and have little arguments about the day and the house and the weather, and we'd make a bit of toast and laugh. We'd go into a room and cover up in blankets and smoke for hours, playing music, talking, watching movies. Or we had misunderstandings and fights. We spent days without talking to each other before we'd make up and make food. One day, both fell asleep wrapped in 4 blankets and 2 duvets. My arm on her waist, a shoulder pressed to my chest, our legs tangled together. We'd lay there for hours, and eventually with a fantastically loud snort, we both woke up laughing. Do you know, she's the only person I've ever met where we both talk to our friends in a video call, and it felt like we were having a conversation in real life. Every day we would paint and sit around a homemade fire pit and make food and go on walks by the canal. We'd talk about travelling, about getting pets, about meeting each other's families. We're building a life together. We imagine we'd always be there for each other. But none of that ever happened. God, we've seen now, no one spoke with each other in over 2 years now, and you know, I have moved on for the most part. We were never together. We were never girlfriends or wives or sexual partners. We touched all the time. We hugged and gave kisses to the cheek and held hands and linked arms. We cared for one another. Looked out for each other. We'd wash the dishes so the other one wouldn't have to. We'd both take the bins out on a Monday night. We'd clean the house together and dance at the same time. We talked about feeling sad, missing home, about getting work, about meeting new friends, about life and philosophy and language, and we'd understand each other. Find our way into each other's souls, and we nestled there. What we had was romance, but the key factor was missing to be a relationship was our desire to have sex, and we never wanted to have sex. We just enjoyed being together. The process of us drifting apart was gradual, but by the time we began to notice it, it was already too late. The communication and connection we had was just slipping away, and we couldn't stop it. And I felt numb. She was the only person I wanted to talk to about what was happening, and the only person I can no longer confide in. And I look back now, and I was experiencing the same crushing heartache, and I realised we'd have effectively broken up. And I felt for heartbreak in a sexual relationship. But at the time, I just felt lost without knowing how to name it out loud. It remains one of the most significant relationships I ever had in my 20s, even though we were just friends.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, okay?
Yeah, how are you?
I'm good, yeah. I think Lois is on. There she is.
Oh, yeah, she is.
Hi.
Hi,
Oh my
Lo.
gosh, hi guys.
Hi. How is everything?
It's so good to see you guys. Yeah.
I know. Everything going good, yeah?
Yeah, all good. You doing good, yeah?
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, how's your family's doing?
Yeah, they're right.
Fine.
Yeah, same. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm so cold, I am. I'm honestly freezing.
Do you know, I think it's my room's facing, but I have the sun coming in. So I'm quite warm, you know, and it's quite like, you know, cozy in here.
Yeah, well, I was a bit cold, so I put a radiator on, but it's fine now.
I'm honestly shattered as well. I could go to sleep.
I find love a coffee, so I'm quite awake and energized, you know. So
Okay.
yeah, it's keeping me. Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
And I'm a bit tired, but I'm keeping going, you know.
Yeah.
Guys, listen to that. Can you hear that?
Mm-hmm.
Listen, can you hear that?
No.
Can you not hear it?
No.
There's like loads of construction work and roadworks going out where I'm staying. It's driving me mad, man. It's so loud.
You know, it's quite quiet here. Like we've got a lot of green and stuff, so it's quite calm. You know, it's good. So it's quite nice and quiet. Like, look, do you find it tends to be a lot quieter by us?
Sometimes it can be quite noisy, so I put my headphones or something in, then it's fine.
It's weird having to do it by Zoom now, isn't it? I'm not going to that little coffee shop we always used to go to in Cardiff.
I know.
Yeah.
Some things have to change.
Some people just never change.
Do you know, some things just naturally change. I think it's just the way it is, and there's nothing we can really do about it. It's just naturally changes. So
right, guys. So,
go on.
You go.
So,
how?
Go on.
You go.
So, how is uni?
It's good, yeah. I'm really enjoying the course, and my tutor's really nice. Not a big fan of the area and the people, though. Like, that sounds bad, but don't get me wrong, they seem like nice people, but don't have like a lot of people to talk to or any friends around you. Yeah. What about you?
It's going great.
Of course
like,
it is.
Everything's amazing, and like my friends are great, my tutors are great, my room is great. Like it's going really well, you know.
Yeah. Sounds great. Yeah, that sounds great. Oh, hello. How are you finding uni? Oh, we can't hear you. You're on mute.
Well, if you really want to know how uni's going,
Oh
it's really
my god,
rubbish.
Ab, I got a boyfriend. I do. We started seeing each other at the beginning of the terms. It's going really well. Actually, I was telling him, do you remember when you fell over the settee in drama?
No, I don't think that was me. Might be Lois.
No?
Yeah, very funny.
So what did you guys end up going into?
I actually ended up taking science.
Wow.
Yeah. What about you?
Math. Went into math. No?
English. Some people just never seem to change.
So, what's everyone doing after this?
I got a job. So, yeah, I got my shift later on tonight. So that's what I'm doing tonight. So, yeah, you?
I kind of went to see, nothing to do, so I might make a few family calls and stuff, and might stay and watch Netflix. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello?
I have uni work that I'm behind on that I need to catch up with.
I mean, you could look in a job ad. That could be something you could look into.
You know, I was thinking about that actually, but like, it'd be like I'm settling down here, and because I miss home so much, I kind of, as soon as I'm done with uni, I kind of want to go back down. So I don't want to act like I'm settling in over here. And also, like, I'm not really good with the one-to-one interview stuff, so I'd rather not. Guys, can you really not hear that? Some things have to change, and there's nothing that we can do about it. Things are just different now, but that's the way they have to be.
I know he said this.
Right, guys, so I'm gonna...
Go on.
You go.
I know he said this
So
wasn't...
I'm just gonna... Listen, this is fun, okay? I'll speak to you guys soon. Do it again. Bye.
Something is wrong with it.
Oh, you in? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I know we were saying this was going to be like a quick call, but yeah, I'm gonna go. I think my shift's in when I thought it was, so I'm gonna go a bit earlier.
No, it's fine. My mother said that she wanted to call me because I haven't seen her in a long time. I spoke to her in a while. So she asked if I could call, so I'll just go call her on one of these Zoom things.
Some things just don't seem to change, do they?
Yeah, well, it was nice seeing you.
See you soon.
Yeah, bye-bye. Bye-bye.
The person you're calling is unable to take your call. Please leave your message after the tone.
Hannah. Han. It's me. Me as in me. Christ. Will she pick up? You don't pick up anymore, do you? Look, I didn't want to leave a message, but now that I'm here, maybe this is better. Jury's out. I'll let you be the judge. Han, I wanted to say sorry for what I said before, when I said I was too busy to come today. Don't know what came over me, but then it all came out of me, and it was just as much as a shock to me as it was to you. Well, maybe a bit less of a shock to me, but I'm surprised I said it all the same. Han really wanted to come today. Should see me. Got all sorts, yeah. Halfway ready. Going nowhere. Story of my bloody life. I was lying. when I said I was too busy to come today. No, it's not that I'm too busy, it's that you're too busy. Too busy by far. Too busy for me. Han, do you remember how you told me? 10 months ago now, is it? I say that like I haven't been counting the days. I do, Han. I do. I remember your exact words. Our baby is the size of a seed. And that was the moment we started to grow apart. We grew up together and suddenly something we couldn't share started growing up in you. Han, do you know when I gushed about how pleased I was? How happy I was it happened so quickly for you guys? My tongue was stuck to the roof of my mouth with every single word. Saying congratulations was like swallowing a raw egg. All strings of protein sliding down past each other, down, and... Christ. I felt sick. I feel sick now, saying this. It all came out wrong the other night, and now maybe this makes even less sense. Han, I was fucking terrified. Still am. We'd been joined at the hip for years, and now you were making a spinal cord. This indestructible, invisible friendship started subdividing. This thing we'd spent years building was being attacked from the insides. From your insides. And the cell splitting that was your greatest joy, it had been absolute torture for me. Things inside of you have been knitting into this perfect creation, and things inside of me had been ripping, tearing, falling apart. You felt sick every day of this pregnancy. Me too. Me fucking too. But I couldn't tell you that. Couldn't tell anyone that. Christ, it's taken me this long to tell myself that I was losing the best I had ever been included in. That I was aching to be a part of an us that didn't include me. That couldn't. It sounds so jealous and juvenile and petty, and yeah, maybe it is jealousy. Maybe it's more than that. Maybe it's the fact that I don't know how to be me. Me as in me. Me as in just me. So Han, I'm calling to say I can't come today. But it's not for the reasons you think or thought after we spoke. God only knows what you'll think when you pick this up, but if you do pick us up, if you call, just know that I'll pick up. I'll still pick up. I'll keep picking up. Our baby is the size of a seed. And it's torn us limb from...
Hey Rex, it's me, your mum, and if you're watching this right now, it means that well, it means the chemo didn't work, but it also means something wonderful. It means that your dad can finally play this tape to you because you were about to become a parent. You are, and always will be, my greatest accomplishment. Mine and your dad's world have become a much brighter place since you came along. I want you to love life, dive into life, be happy, stay inquisitive, and fight for what you believe in. I don't know how long we'll have together. Maybe you'll never even need to see this recording because, hey, maybe I do beat it. Your dad keeps telling me that if anyone's going to prove the doctor's wrong, it's going to be me. He says I'm too stubborn to die so easily, and for once, I hope he's right. But just in case I don't beat it, I want to tell you that I am proud of you. Becoming your mum has been the most magical thing to have happened to me. And as parents, it is our job to protect our children at all costs. And I suppose that's why I've become obsessed, as your dad might say, with the environment. You see, when you were about a bump inside of my stomach, I made you a promise. The same promise that my mum made to me. To leave the world a slightly better place than when you entered it. Now, I'm sure your nana didn't expect me to take it quite so literally. But when I found out I was pregnant with you, I was just overcome with this rush of excitement. An excitement that I'm sure you're experiencing yourself right now. But then out of nowhere, I was just struck by this palpable fear that I might mess up somehow, or that you'll never get to see a polar bear, or walk barefoot across the grass, swim in a clean ocean, or just... See, the truth is, I'm probably gonna miss out on a lot of your life, and that makes filming this so much harder, because it just feels like a goodbye, and I'm not ready for a goodbye. I've only just got to say hello. You're still so small. Your little hand barely wraps around my finger. Look at me getting all snotty. I'm telling you, it's these stupid hormones. I read something today that I bet you'll love. So apparently, if you drink a glass of water, it is virtually 100% likely that a singular molecule has also passed through a dinosaur. I mean, it's crazy, isn't it? If I teach you anything, I want it to be that nothing is impossible. Just hasn't been realised yet. Pass that little bit of knowledge on to your little one for me, would you? Okay, so since you're about to become a dad, I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. Becoming a parent is a magical thing. But something that nobody really tells you about is how equally terrifying it can be. I mean, you're suddenly responsible for this small human who just depends on you for everything. You can read 100 parenting books, okay? But when it comes down to it, you're gonna mess up sometimes. And the books don't always have the answer. You have got to trust yourself. Honestly, Rex, I wasn't always so concerned about the negative effect I had on the environment. And looking back on it now, it's shameful. Having you just changed all of that. And besides, changing your reusable nappies is punishment enough. God, you can't half make a mess. Sometimes I think you save the smelliest ones for me and then let your dad off way too easily. Do you know, I even bought a book that a 15-year-old wrote once. Yeah, me listening to the advice of a 15-year-old, can you believe it? The infamous Greta Thunberg. And if you were looking at me right now drawing a blank, You better go and Google her right now, young man. She is proof that just one voice can make a difference. I mean, take 2020, the year of a global pandemic that, yeah, whilst terrible, wasn't entirely dreadful, because people are finally starting to care about the state of our planet. Although I wouldn't be surprised if you're still pissed at my generation for not doing enough. Cut me some slack, though. I mean, I gave up sushi pots, McDonald's, meat in general, and I even banned your dad from bottle pop. But despite all the crap, it's not all bad. Mother Nature is like a phoenix, rising from the ashes time and time again. When the forest fires in Australia and California blazed on for what seemed like an eternity, extinguishing the lives of so many innocents, the world fell silent, consumed by sorrow. And yet, whilst the fires caused so much damage, you'll be pleased to know that from the ashes, life began to grow again. A phoenix, you see. I wish that I could say that the time we have together will be enough, but I'd be lying. I wish that we had forever, because I want to see you learn how to ride a bike. I want to take you trick-or-treating. I want to see you graduate, buy you your first drink. I want to embarrass you in front of your girlfriend or boyfriend, I mean, whoever. I want to be there when you're sick and you need a hug from your mum. And I know your dad says I'm going to be fine, but nobody's meant to live forever. So, as there is air in my lungs, I am going to fight for your future. Just like the amazing man I know you'll grow to be, I know you'll fight for your child's too. And hopefully, in your child's lifetime, the coral reef will be thriving and the sky will be filled with the melody of songbirds and the buzz of bees going about their working day. You'll have the knowledge you need to care for Mother Earth and make a change. God, your dad's right, I do sound like a hippie, don't I? Well then, this hippie promises to show you all the wonderful things this planet has to offer. I hope I get the chance to drag you to beach cleanups when you're a stroppy teenager, embarrass you on the odd occasion, and to never let you feel hopeless about our planet's future. Storms give us rainbows and crops will grow. Just tell my grandchild that I love them and that they can be whoever they want to be. I like the sound of Nana. It's cooler than being a grandma. Now, go and take on the world. Be bold, be brave, be adventurous. Just know you are going to be a brilliant dad, Rex. So don't for a second doubt yourself. I love you forever and always forever. My little prince. Change. Change.
Today is the day. I repeat that to myself like a mantra, getting proper psyched. Today is the day. I stride up to the bright red door of Sacred Heart DIY and fling it wide. Inside is a never-ending maze of mini lawnmowers and flexi-bladers, leaf blowers and rock climbing ropes, vintage set of wooden ski poles that casually leans next to the flat-packed jacuzzi that's been gathering dust for years. The shop has everything, double everything. It's like Noah's Ark for household appliances. Aladdin's Cave, eat your heart out. Secret Heart's labyrinth brimming over with stuff. The counter. I need to get to the counter. I take the long way round, knees knocking, mouth drier than the sack of dehydrated yak feed I shuffle past. I can't do this.
I can't do this. I should just buy my usual Hubba Bubba multi-pack, a glow-in-the-dark novelty pencil sharpener, and get out. He's probably not even out the front today. Saturday afternoon he's probably in the stock room or running errands. Or he's there, if she is there, making polite small talk with Maureen about her new boiler. God, he's charming. There's no going back now. Today is the day. Approach the counter, breath tight in my chest. I can see his chin stubble from here, chestnut brown eyes. Hear the flops at the front and six straight up at the back of its own entirely own accord. And that, the sneeze. He has a mild regular sneeze. Probably has something to do with the thick layer of dust most of the shop. And I know this may sound odd, but they sound very distinguished. His sneezes. I would go as far as to say attractive. They aren't wet or dry or unhealthy sounding or anything. They're not your garden bog standard nasal explosion. His sneeze is more like a laugh or a friendly greeting. 3 feet apart, we lock eyes. His lips part. I can tell he's about to launch into some breathtakingly poetic monologue about some newly important Hungarian fishing tackle. So I say, shut your sweet honeyed mouth and let me speak, man. Or when I'm about to, Sorry, is she? 1 second. Hey, ma'am. Hey. What's up? What's wrong? Okay, it's right. I'm heading back now. Yes, I can. It's fine. I'll be right there. It's Dad. When we thought it was just some nasty case of a fever, it's something else. He's taken a turn. She's been called back into work and I'm needed back. I asked her to keep my items behind the till. I'll be back for him. I mean them. But I'm not back soon. Dad's bedbound, and Mum's working full time, so I automatically assume the role of round-the-clock caretaker. My own bloody half-term too. Before you ask, no, I've not been inundated with offers to go and socialise, but the option would be nice. The days stretch on and I try and find some things to fill in with. Scrub the house from top to bottom, arrange Mum's weird collection of carved-out animals in height order. And yes, yearn for the love of my life. I've probably stood over no packet of chewing gums, and stationery that might as well be in my beating heart. Dad's getting worse. I'm pleads with him to go see the doctor, but he keeps on insisting that it's a cold and that she's been hysterical. But they're barely sleeping, and she's sleeping on the sofa now. Dad hasn't left his room in days. I just don't know what to do. What would she do? But I can't leave the house. And I don't text him because that's just not my style. So I keep on cooking and cleaning and bleaching the mugs again. But hang on, some red on Dad's Sports Direct mug? It's blood. Dad's blood. I can't breathe. I just need to get out. I put on a battered old pair of Converse. A hoodie. The only one I can find is a skateboarding cat printed on it, but fashion is lower than ever in my priority list right now. I make a break for the front door just as my mum opens it. She asks me where I'm going, but I don't stop to answer. I can't stop. I sprint up the high street, gulping in lungfuls of air. Calm silence. I look up, expecting to see a horde full of judgmental strangers skulking, but the streets are empty, deserted. It's a Saturday, and while it may not be legs out with the lads kind of weather, it's not apocalypse weather either. At least I think it's not. But I haven't been paying attention to anything the past week. As I make my way out to the town centre, I am met with row after row of shops, cafes and restaurants, all dark behind the glass, some bolted up completely. I come to a dead halt outside Sacred Heart. An icy fear rises up my spine. I'm throbbing ache behind my eyes. My own heart drops to the floor as I see that the door is locked. For the first time ever, not a single sign of life. No discount fondue kits bubbling, no wind-up race snails whirling, no motion sensor alarm clocks ticking, no singing fish, just silence. Broken by the shuffle of footsteps, a shadow on my back, and then...
What, the cafe? Oh, I don't want to tell you about that. No, please. No, I don't want to. Oh my god. Okay, fine. I'll tell you. Fine. So, it all started in a cafe down on Tortoise Lane. The room was nearly full, but I did manage to find a table to myself in the back room. I had my earphones in, and I was listening to a short sci-fi paperback, a collection of Philip K. Dick's short stories. When suddenly, I see this person walk into the room. About my age, tall, slimish, long brown hair, piercing blue eyes, a vintage suede leather jacket, long jeans, and a pair of Doc Martens. Very striking, actually, but the thing was, you really couldn't tell whether it was a boy or a girl. Like, their outfit gave nothing away, and the way they were acting was neither obviously masculine or obviously feminine. There wasn't a free table, but they had to look at the newspaper rack by the door. Meanwhile, I'm trying to work out their gender. Of course, he or she catches me staring at them, and I bury my head in my book. I'm sure I was blushing. Next thing I know, they come up to me and ask if the chair next to me was free. I mumble something, move my bag, and then go back to my book. As they're sitting down, they ask if I'm keeping it for a date or something. I say I'm not, and then put my earplugs back in. They tell me that it's best to check because these cafes seem to thrive on a dating scene. You know, people would come to these cafes and choose their ideal lover based on how you would choose a cup of coffee. You know, strong, black, sweet. Or as I would say, a small, flat white. And we catch each other's eyes for the first time. Anyway, I go back to my book. But they keep on talking to me. Something about these dating apps treating people like commodities, how everyone knows exactly what they want and how to get it, and how it leaves no room for the magic of chance. No happenstance, no serendipity. A good choice of words. So here I am, having this conversation with this strangely attractive person, and I still don't know whether they're a boy or a girl. I don't have a clue. Not from the face, not from the gestures, or even the voice. So I introduce myself, thinking that once I know their name, it'll clear things up for me. But it turns out their name was Blue, and so that really wasn't much help at all. So we continue talking about the dating game, and Blue mentions how you won't get anywhere unless you check all the right boxes that will appeal to an ideal lover. You know, passionate, solvent, fashionable interests. I suggest that travel, skiing and going to the gym twice a day would be very popular. Then Blue picks up my paperback, saying that I wouldn't want to mention that because it would ruin my chances. It turns out that Blue likes sci-fi too, and in particular, Philip K. Dick. So we get talking about his work and his writing, and about how people think it's uncool to like sci-fi, as opposed to a more socially acceptable activity like watching a bunch of overpaid reprobates kicking a leather sphere around a field. Then Blue mentions they're showing the director's cut of Blade Runner in the BFI. Neither of us have seen it on the big screen. So, to cut a long story short, we've arranged to see it this Saturday. It's not really a date. I mean, you can't really call it a date if you don't even know their gender. Can you?
change.
What's something you do every day? It's something we all do, but never really put any thought to. Well, not all of us have the luxury of coming home and having a 3-course meal set up for us. Countries such as Chad and Africa suffer the most malnutrition, and sometimes people don't realize how bad and horrific it actually is. Why? We're not exactly sure why, but we need to bring more light to the situation. We need more lessons in schools, more fundraisers, more knowledge. Maybe rise up against the causes, peacefully protest against the government that hide the safe way out for them. Do you think it'll really work?
I don't know. I guess it's at least a start.
Maybe.
That's true.
Will people listen, though?
I hope so.
But will they really listen? We want them to, but I don't know. Would you?
You'd think they would, but honestly, I don't know.
I mean, it is important.
To us, though, but maybe it's not to them.
People need to listen.
They should teach us these things in school. They really should. It's our world, but they don't understand that.
Just saying you'll listen isn't enough. We have to do something.
Would you listen?
Would you, though?
Will you be the change we need?
Will you help? But would you really, though?
We all work together.
Then change will happen.
We can create something bigger, something people can't ignore.
Should we tell them?
They know. We already have. They don't listen to us.
They don't care.
But did they actually listen?
What do you think?
Should we tell them again?
Is there any point? Do you think there's any point?
It depends if they'll listen.
Why won't they listen?
Because they don't really want to help.
Maybe they do, but maybe they don't know how.
Then how do we show them? In any way we can.
We need to be the voice that provokes them to change.
What's something you do every day?
What's something you do every day?
What's something you do every day?
What's something you do every day? What's something you do every day?
What's something you do every day?
Hi, I'm Anea Stenner-Raw, producer of Showface. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. We really hope that you enjoyed. Lauren and I would like to say a huge thank you to all the staff and students at the College Merthyr Tydfil for all their hard work over the past few months. Adapting to the changing creative industries isn't easy, and every creative involved in this festival is helping to prove the resilience of our community, showing that we can survive and thrive even in the most difficult of times. Theatre will come back stronger than ever. And to you watching at home, thank you for supporting us. Thank you for helping us to fight to protect the arts. To find out more about Showface and what we do, please visit our website. And most importantly, please continue to support the arts. Thank you. We'll see you next time.